Welcome to This Just In, the show bringing you the latest advancements in healthcare, strategy, innovation, and public policy. And now, for the fastest voice in healthcare, here's your host, Justin Barnes.
Welcome back to This Just In Radio Show, broadcasting live from Health 2025 in sunny Las Vegas. I'm very excited to introduce my next guest and great friend of the show, Dr. Kamal Jathwani, co-founder, Decimal Health, and VP of Digital Ventures with Moffitt Cancer Center. Welcome back to the show, my good friend.
Thank you. Excited to be here with you.
Excited for you to be here. We caught up a little bit last night at the great reception, but first of all, it's been a fun couple days for you.
Yeah, amazing. The show's always great. I mean, a lot of energy this time, especially around all the AI stuff, so super fun.
So before we dive into all the questions, tell us a bit about Decimal Health. You're right up the street from me. We've never connected. I live in Sarasota now. You obviously moved down from, we first met, you were in Boston at Harvard, or up in, yeah, but now you're down in, you live in Tampa? Yeah. So tell us about Decimal Health real quick.
Yeah, so Decimal Health, I launched it 5.5 years ago with the idea that digital health companies and startups, tech companies especially, did not know quite how to sell these solutions successfully to health systems and pharma companies and payers. And I was inside a health system for 15 years, being on the other side of it. So I decided to start Decimal as a way to help that. And it was really incredible. It was right at the start of the pandemic where everyone was trying to sell in, and we got really good traction at the beginning. So Decimal has grown since then. It's been for over 5 years. We've done over 110 clients. We now service pharma companies, health systems, and startups and tech companies. And very recently had some really interesting successes, like the Samsung Zelt acquisition was actually work that my team did. So, really exciting stuff in the market. And as I grew Decimal, one of the things that I kept thinking about is I'm really helping a lot of other people make very successful companies, and that I would love to sort of translate that into sort of more exponential sort of, upside for my team and really create some impactful companies, right? So that was a conversation I started with Moffitt Cancer Center about 15 months ago. And now we've collaborated together to create a venture studio called AccelerOnc, which I'm really excited about.
Love that. So, and we'll do another follow-up show just on that, because there's a lot of fun stuff. And also, I do want to get to some real cool cancer items that we talked about last night. But before we get there, what progress are you most excited that you're seeing in the industry today?
Oh, my God. I've been in digital health for 22 years. And I'll tell you, this year, it truly finally feels like it's our time. Look at the amount of energy and money that AI companies are raising, and it's not just on vaporware, it's actually real solutions that are being implemented. Look at what the AI scribe industry has done. Look at the fact that Open Evidence raised another $200 million yesterday. And, Aura Ring just raised $900 million. Like, this is all becoming real, right? And the revenues they have are exciting. The amount of traction they have is exciting, which means that people are finally using it. And the fact that an AI assistant and an AI co-pilot is now part of the usual lexicon in a health system is amazing, right? Nurses, frontline workers, everyone's talking about that, and that's what's really exciting.
Love it. So, what about, since you do know the health system so well, the inside perspective, obviously we see how we're AI, and I don't want to steal some of your thunder, but maybe help with some of the workforce thoughts, because we have certainly concerns. My last guest just brought up, how we do have workforce concerns, certainly inside the health systems and healthcare in general. What are some of your thoughts there on where AI can make a difference?
Yeah, there's so much waste, and I say waste not from a financial perspective, but like, energy efficiency, time, et cetera, right? In the way we deliver care, in the entire journey that we have for our patient, right? And so I think if we can start to use these tools for improved efficiency, I think that really helps, not just in the normal ways that you would think about, right? So it's not just getting patients in faster and getting more revenue. That's obviously part of it. The other part of it, which is really interesting, is that it frees up people to do more of what they are actually trained and licensed to do. So if everyone's practicing at the top of the license, we are actually all much more effective as a health system. People are burning out less because they're not doing repeatable tasks, and people are sort of more excited and energized at their work. That makes us better clinicians for our patients, and that makes everything go better. So I think workflow perspective, in the entire patient journey from an operational perspective, lots of opportunity. I also started seeing a lot of applications in the clinical side, right? So we think of physicians as sacrosanct, but just think about the fact that medical knowledge is doubling every 73 days, right? Nobody's keeping up with it. Nobody's keeping up with it. And so at some point, AI is going to be the only way we can keep up with it clinically, right? And so if you want your patients to have the best treatment possible, I don't think there is a way outside of AI. I don't.
So even to that end, I mean, Rasu yesterday brought up how if you're not using AI in part of your care strategy, there could be malpractice involved. Certainly, John Holm could run that for the last year on my show. Like, if you're not using AI, just to your point, how much new information comes out? Peer-reviewed journals, information comes out every single day. There's no way you can keep up. AI is the only way that you can keep up. And within the next 3 to 5 years, if you're not using AI to augment your care strategy, you're probably going to practice
I mean, in cancer especially, guidelines have been updated 270 times this year.
There you go.
Already. Right?
270
times already.
Yeah, I think last time you asked me, I said 5. No, 270. Like, wow.
And in specific cases like breast cancer, et cetera, it's like 20, 30, 40, 50 times that guidelines are getting updated. What do you do with that? How are you ever going to keep up with it? If they're getting updated every week, you're not keeping up with that. Right? So how do you then provide the best guideline concordant care to your patients?
Love it. Well said. So we talk about AI, workforce. Any other trends that you're seeing in the industry that we should keep an eye out on?
Yeah, I think personalization of care. And again, when I say that, people think genetics. I don't really mean just that, right? But the fact that we're using wearables to get better information about people, I think people are starting to take care in their own hands a little bit more, which I think is exciting. Employers are moving more in a direction in that way. I think this whole new movement of sort of the expanding the health span, I think is really interesting, right? And I read somewhere, don't quote me, but a couple of weeks ago that we're probably going to live longer than 100, right? Our generation.
I'm quoting
right?
you.
And so if we're going to live that long, what are we doing? Like we want to live healthy. We don't want to be spending 25 years in hospice or whatever,
absolutely.
right? So I think that's really where that's another area where I think digital and AI can be really groundbreaking.
Yep. Well said. Excellent. Thinking about, or thinking beyond today, thinking about tomorrow, what's something that we need to be ready to navigate in 2 or 3 years from now that we maybe have not spoken about today or we've not seen on the health floor? What do you think of the future?
Yeah, so I'll say 2 or 3 things. One, because of the use of artificial intelligence, we're going to start to see way more volume of data being generated, right? And I'm already hearing the term called note bloat. Right? Because now we're using AI scribes. It's transcribing everything. Now you have 30-page notes. Now I need an AI summarization tool to get it down to 1 page. And then I need basically now we're creating so much data. And that's good, right? The data. Eventually, at some point, that data is going to become too much for humans to read. In 3 to 5 years, we're going to be in the opposite side of the problem where we have too much data and, we're going to need a lot of help processing it. So that is something that, again, could go back in that same direction of creating a lot of burnout and process problems, right? That's one. The second thing I think that could be important is as we're bringing all these different disparate systems together, the problem of interoperability hasn't been solved yet, and we pretend it's been solved, but that's only going to get worse, right? So if your Aura Ring doesn't really talk to your EMR, doesn't really talk to your AI scribe, like you're now creating all this data in silos. And then the third thing I'll say is I said this yesterday on stage, change management. We need to bring everyone along, and if we don't, then you're just going to start to see silos in the health systems. And I already see that early adopters versus late adopters. You're almost starting to see that tension grow in hospitals,
right?
And that's only going to create a culture that's not trusting of technology.
Right. Excellent. No, nice. You bring up data. And this is why we had a massive disagreement last night at the reception. You and I actually totally agreed, but our other friend who we'll hear from in a moment disagreed with us. But I said, I believe there is enough data just in the state of Florida, I use as an example, because we always say in America we have enough data siloed to cure all cancers, whatever. Some people have said that. I said in the state of Florida we have enough siloed data to cure cancer, and I think the debate was maybe some cancers. So, which then we had a great discussion regarding that. But let's bring that up here, because I actually going to create a whole talk track. I'm going to do a whole show series on just this topic. Okay. With you and Dane and everybody else and some other great people we'll bring in. But so let's talk cancer. Better yet, let's talk curable cancers. Give me some really cool stats there that you were throwing around last night.
Yeah. So many of our cancers are curable now, right? And if they're not curable, they're manageable as a chronic disease. And the problem is that all the information available for that is already available, right? But it's not reaching the people that are making treatment decisions. So today we already have enough information, we have enough data, and we actually have enough medications and molecules that we can manage a lot of cancers as a chronic disease, right? Curing is a difficult word, and I won't go there, right? But to me, that in itself is good enough, right? If we can stop cancer from being a death sentence, and if I can give you the entire lifespan that you're going to have anyway, but you're just going to take an extra pill a day like diabetes, right? I think we're good.
Yep.
And I think that we have enough today for many, many cancers that we can already do that. One example I'll give you is research that is being done at Moffitt, where we're using a mathematical algorithm to be able to determine how much dose to give you to augment your immune system, right? And we basically tailor your dose up or down using a math model. It's a drug that was produced 50 years ago, right? It's a generic drug that we're using in that. And so far, we have a study going on that we haven't been able to close because not enough people have died in that study. And in our previous study, we increased lifespan by 60 months compared to the average use of the drug. So people who use the drug every day, regularly, versus people who use the math model to go up and down on the dosage, they got an extra 60 months of survival.
Wow.
So it's a drug that was available 50 years ago.
Right. Yeah.
So just think about all the things we can do with the data and how we apply it to be able to make cancer basically a chronic disease.
Yep.
And that's really what I'm passionate about. It's like, we need to stop cancer being a death sentence.
Right.
Shouldn't happen.
Cancer needs to be a chronic disease.
Correct.
Yeah. And classified such, and let's go. Awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna, like I mentioned, I'm gonna bring much more resources in this direction. I want to talk about this. That's very educational. And so I think that last night, if I remember correctly, you said roughly, I don't want to put words in your mouth, 70% we could address this way of cancers, ballpark.
Yep. And
that's extremely encouraging.
Yeah, I mean, 70% we could address in that way. And by the way, there's so many parts of the patient journey that can be optimized to fix this, because the answer is not just in the medication. We think that the biggest moves are being made by pharmaceutical companies. That's actually not that true. Right? Today, only 20% patients that are eligible for advanced therapies are getting them. Wow. So what are you producing all these advanced therapies for? When 80% of the patients that are eligible aren't even getting them.
Oh, that's right.
So if we equalize access and we actually make it available, if you freeze in time today, drug development, right? And all you focus on is equalizing access and making sure it's optimally accessible, you're going to fix the problem. You're going to fix the problem. And think about how much money we're spending on drug development.
Absolutely.
So I'm not saying you should, right? But I'm saying, like, let's do both things together.
I love it. Kamal, Dr. Jethwani, thank you so much for joining the show. We're going to do this again real soon.
All right.
Thank
I'm
you, brother.
excited. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.